All right, that's gonna. Oh, look who's right after Lucius. It's my creature. Nice. Gus.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Magic Circle's not a concentration spell, is it?
It is not.
Okay.
Because it's immobile.
Gus, I have a 12 to hit you.
Uh,
I have a 16 to hit you.
nope,
And I have a 13 to hit you.
nope.
So yeah, the thing pops back into existence, and all of you whiff. So, like, I imagine all of you try to attack at the same time, and like your weapons just bounce off of each other. And thing wastes no time in trying to continue to skewer Gus to no avail, and that's going to bring us to Connor's turn.
Like we're all some kind of 80s comedy movie. Just whiff.
It's like
Whoosh, whoosh.
some real Three Stooges stuff happening here.
Yeah. All right. Bonus action. Slayer's Prey. Since if I do Lightning Arrow, probably make everyone unhappy. So bonus action Slayer's Prey, and let's attack it with a rapier. How does that
You're
sound?
in melee. It would make you unhappy.
Also,
Maybe he
everybody's
likes the
wet.
pain.
Everybody's like wet.
Hurt me more.
That is a 23 to hit.
That'll hit.
It hits. All right, cool. So please take. That is 11 piercing and 4 more piercing. On top of that, all of the piercing. And second attack,
What weapon is this with?
rapier.
Okay.
Is this a magic rapier?
No, it's just very well made.
It is just very well made. All right, it's another 23 though
23 will hit.
for 9 more damage.
And you're having the same difficulty as Rallick was having. You're not a magic weapon. It just has... you just can't find purchase in the thing's armor. You're not dealing as much damage as your companions are with their weapons.
I could fix this, but everyone will be mad at Connor. Dang, but
I think this is Gus's fault, this situation, actually. Connor, moving or staying put?
staying put.
It's going to bring us to Rallick.
All right. Well, we'll try to swing again, as much as that hasn't worked in the past. Okay, that might actually hit. That's 18.
18 does hit.
All right. So that I can apply sneak attack to that one. All right, that is 26 damage.
Okay, all right, moving or staying put after that?
I've got one more attack with the offhand.
Okay.
Okay, that didn't actually. That one is 7 plus 9, 16.
16 does not hit.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll stay put, though.
Staying put. It's going to bring us to Gus.
Uh-huh.
You're bloodied,
I'm
right?
doing, not currently, no.
Hmm.
Nope, not bloodied anymore.
We'll see what we can do about that.
Yep. I know you'll do your best. Booming Blade is a 27
That'll
to
hit.
hit. All right. Oh, wait, no, I shouldn't be rolling a d10. So that's 6 points magical bludgeoning and 5 points of thunder damage.
Okay.
And my bonus action to just do another swing is a 23
That'll hit.
for 10 more magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay, you got the second one bloodied now as you were just hammering away, and more bigger chunks of its armor are hitting the floor. And as it does, more and more of the trident on the floor is taking shape.
Gus is just beating it. I was just trying to prevent it from being stolen until we could hand it
Didn't you
over.
steal it?
That's... Possession is 9/10 of the law.
That's going to bring us to Alexander.
All right, first shot. That'll hit an armor class of 12. Second shot. That'll hit an armor class of 24.
That'll hit.
Let's throw my last arcane jolt onto that one. 4, 9 force, and 8 magical piercing. And final shot with haste is a 17.
17 does not hit. And listen.
Then Scrappy takes a swipe. It's a 24.
That'll hit. I know this isn't your fault, but Arcane Jolt is a really dumb name. For like a spell or whatever.
That's 12 force damage from Scrappy.
Okay.
Is Arcane Jolt base Artificer or Battlesmith?
Base art. Battlesmith. It's pure science paladin.
I gotcha.
Like this is just smite, but it's magic, but it's force.
And you're staying in the hallway and you're keeping Scrappy like in the doorway to the room?
Yeah, Scrappy standing right next to. I'm not letting Scrappy leave Gus's side.
Okay. It's going to bring us to Lucius. Oh, he's boycotting his turn because
Because I'm damn muted, that's why.
Oh, okay. I thought
Sorry.
I thought you were protesting the hilarious mispronouncement of your name.
I mean, that's fine, that's true. Also that, but also, with Alexander and Scrappy in the hallway, I really can't get to a position where I can make line of sight to hit it with an Eldritch Blast.
You can hit it with an Eldritch Blast from where you're at.
Okay, then. Then I will.
In fact, they're
So.
both... This thing is larger than anything else in the room, so I'm not even going to give it any cover.
Alex
Okay,
is
then.
barely 3 feet tall.
Yeah, Alex and Scrappy are both short.
Looking at a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
I don't need this banish die anymore, so you just roll that for damage. Let's see. Looking at 11 force damage,
Okay.
and then second shot. Say 23 to hit
Also hits.
for 9 force.
Okay. And the second one, its physical form just falls apart, and as it does, the water making up its innards splashes to the ground, and some of it splashes out the window, and most of it splashes to the floor, and trails down the hallway and then down the stairs. And the last of the material of the thing crumbles to the ground. And now you see the Kodrashi fork once again rematerialized, laying on the floor. Everything in this hallway is completely destroyed. I mean, this water pushed its way out, upended everything in the pantry, got into all the other rooms, and then most of it flowed down the stairs. And as you put the final shot, blasting this thing's armor apart, you start hearing Mad Metal from the basement. And he's real mad about something. And he's
I think
stomping up the stairs relatively quickly.
Connor-
we've exhausted our welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Connor doesn't say anything, but just sort of gives a side-eyes glance to Gus.
And as Alex stops concentrating on the haste spell and the little crystal he inserted into his ring evaporates, suddenly he kind of sort of seems almost horrified as he's strobing back and forth between all the positions of the actions he took while hasted, as all the time he borrowed is catching up with him.
Are you reskinning the haste spell as being like a probabilistic?
Yeah. Well, no, he steals all the time from that turn at the end where you can't take any actions. That's where all the extra time comes from. So you have to replay like the position of all those actions at that point.
So just for a moment, you were Schrodinger's gnome. That's all we got it.
Exactly.
Nobody look in the box. Yeah, no, Mad Metal demands to know why you have done this to his shop.
It wasn't intentional. Believe me, Lucius stares at Gustavus.
There's absolutely no indication that's never happened before.
That was just some sort of magical bullshit. Sorry, man.
Do you have the intent on trying to smooth this over with Mad Metal?
Yeah, I'll try and do what I can to clean up.
The first thing you need to do is pass a persuasion check.
Rallick can do that. I'll try to. I'll try to persuade him that it was just an honest mistake.
He doesn't
a
know
bad
Rallick.
interaction with magic. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he
never
doesn't-
mind then.
He doesn't know Rallick. Alex, go ahead and give us a
Can I
persuasion.
step in on that?
Yeah.
Can I step in on that?
I'll let
Yeah,
one
Lucius,
of,
go
I'll
ahead
let-
and take a +5.
One of you can
Since
make
I'm
the
not-
check, and the other one can assist if you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in addition to the take +5 on top of everything else.
Gus is being
That
very
is a
small.
20. No, wait. I can't math right now. I'm sorry. 21 plus 5 is 26.
Okay.
Nice.
Gus is being very small and very quiet.
Mad Metal.
Good man.
Here's the thing. He understands the predicament of like weird magical interactions that happen, but he's also of the opinion that anybody who's not able to contain these little accidents in a non-destructive way is incompetent. So he gives Lucius and Alex, since they're the one who step up, he's kind of foisting all the blame onto them. And you guys are just listening to how completely incompetent you are.
Lucius is thinking the entire time, well, listen, buddy, weren't you in some other Artificer sex dungeon until a few days ago?
I mean, because you passed the check, I will tell you for nothing that if you bring that up, you will fail the check.
No, I'm not. No, that's exactly. No, I'm just giving you insight into Lucius's brain right now.
So here's where we're landing. He's willing, because you've done a service for him in the past, to let you to continue using his shop for the duration of the time you're in Blue Worm, providing you clean this mess up to his satisfaction.
I have no problem with that.
And
Certainly.
with that deal done, all of your goodwill with Mad Metal is now over. So Alex and Lucius, he gives you some tasks. And, I mean, Alex, you're kind of expecting this because, as being an artificer yourself, there's just 1,000 little things that have been... the force of the water flowed down into his basement workshop. And so when he takes you down there, you see just things upended. I mean, there are chemicals, there's smashed glass. The force, like a wave, came downstairs and knocked over a bunch of his workstations. So, I mean, he's going to set you to work, replenishing some of these materials. You're going to be expected to pay for things that you can't reacquire. Lucius, meanwhile, he's putting you to work on actually doing cleanup. And the task he gives you... primarily is one of the things that was upended is a relatively large size box of what looks to your eyes just to be metal shavings. And he wants them all put back where they go, reorganized the way he had them by length.
Okay.
This is going to take hours and hours and hours of work. These look like little iron shavings to you. You can't tell how you're even supposed to measure them.
I'll do my best to muddle through.
How much gold are you willing to put down to replenish the ruined stock?
Let's see, I've got a fair amount on me, actually. Let's say 100.
Okay.
Oh, right, I had to exchange all that platinum I had to use in the stupid city. That's why I have so much gold.
The worst city. What are the rest of you doing? Mad Metal does not give tasks to anybody else. Lucius and Alex were the ones that stepped up and kind of... calm is the wrong word, but brought him back down to not quite as Mad Metal. So unless the rest of you take initiative to do something, he doesn't actually give you any tasks.
Connor just exits because he
shop
thinks people
entirely?
are
Okay.
because he thinks people are concerned that he might open his mouth and make everything bad.
So you're putting the task of holding Lucius's hands together back onto Lucius.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you just leave. Just don't even know why I hang out with these people. What about Rallick and Gus?
Gus is going to help.
In that case, it's going to fall down to Lucius and Alex to direct you. And Alex is going to be out today reacquiring a bunch of ruined equipment and materials.
Scrappy's in charge until I'm back.
Wow.
As far as Rallick, given his druthers, he, like I said, obviously Mad Metal doesn't know him, so his help is in trying to persuade. So he would probably leave.
I guess we could.
What are Connor and Rallick doing today? If you guys are leaving the shop.
We were gonna do the other thing tonight. I'd have to think.
You're gonna case the joint?
I mean, we could do it. We could definitely go and look. He'll look at said, what's your well, it's during daylight, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd probably be fine. He would. Let me think. He knows the outside of it pretty. I mean, so are the let me ask you, Brick. Are the two outlying areas, the like the tomb and everything, are those public areas, or were those cordoned off when Rallick was casing the joint earlier?
No, they're actually both sealed.
They're both sealed. Okay.
Right. The deal is that there's not a major like temple infrastructure in this city, except for the cathedral to Osprey, because one of the founders of the city was a priest of Osprey. So many of the wealthy landowners inside the city limits, if they don't revere Osprey, will have small temples on their grounds. Some of these, make me a history check.
Okay.
Or a religion check. Either would be appropriate here.
I think both of those are pretty bad for me, so let me look. Yeah, they're both the same. Two.
So you know there's a temple on the grounds here. And you know that it was closed and that the doors were closed when you were on the grounds previously. More than that, you don't know. So Connor and Rallick, you're going to go back to King Xeros's here, which is the actual map that I have open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rallick will tell Connor, is like, yeah, that we can do. I'll go back as the scholar, and I can pass you off as my. You're obviously a ranger, so I'll pass you off as kind of like a guard. If it comes up, we'll pass you off as a bodyguard.
Well, Connor is known
around
the
the region.
They've been there before.
Yeah. Connor
he that's true, but he could say that he acquired Connor's services. So, just so it wouldn't be unusual for them to be there together.
Well, the sex dungeon was the previous adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the previous two adventures.
Is this a running occurrence? Do I have a problem?
You might.
Mm-hmm. You really want us to post on D&D Nightmares or whatever it is.
Listen,
right.
We weren't going to bring it up.
As long as he's not inserting his fetish into this, I don't know. Maybe just ambushing his players with bullshit is his fetish. Which,
McDohl.
hey, I'm not king shaming.
My fetish is a player having to concentrate on keeping their hands in a certain shape.
Our GM, the dungeons our GM keeps putting us in are sex dungeons.
So Rallick will disguise himself back as the scholar again.
So what are the two of you hoping to discover when you come back to...
The main thing Rallick's going to be looking for is he's just there to largely make his presence known, just to be as an accepted guest, and he's gonna make a show of kind of looking around the public display of all the artifacts, and he's gonna just secretly try to. He's never gonna mention the book, but he's just gonna confirm that the book is not in public.
The book is not in any of the public spaces. And the first check that I need from you is a deception check.
Okay.
Both of us are just
him.
Okay.
And I actually get advantage on this, so from a class feature.
What class feature?
Let's see. Give me a second, and I'll tell you.
I haven't had a rogue that wasn't just a straight up sniper in a couple of campaigns.
Sorry, I'm still learning to do the way this works. Actor. You gain +1 charisma, and you have advantage on deception and performance checks when trying to pass yourself off as a different person.
Okay, that advantage is not going to apply to this roll then.
But I am trying to. Okay, fine. We'll go with it. That is a Let's see. You said that was deception, right? That's a 25.
Are you trying to kind of keep a low profile, or are you looking to speak with King Zeros while you're here?
Just keep a low profile. He's just
So
basically
here's what
like
happens.
he's
Go.
already shown up as this person once. He just wants to force it to be normal for him to be there.
You go in with Connor, and you're greeted very warmly. The place is doing business pretty well. They've just finished serving their midday meal not long ago. And they have not reopened the display room just yet. However, you're given word that, as you've come in, that Keen Zeros will be available in just a few moments. He would like to come out and speak with you.
So Rallick will say, "Oh, of course, yes. I would love to speak with Master Kinceros again. We would be honored."
Connor just raises an eyebrow.
Connor, give me an insight check when King Zeros comes out.
That is a 21.
21. King Zeros comes out for a moment, and where are you guys in the building when he having a conversation? I mean, you have the tap room over here.
I think we would have been, unless Connor has an objection, Rallick would have been in the tap room.
Okay.
Yeah, tap room.
I'm sorry, the tap room's over here. This is the dining hall.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there having, I don't know, organic ale or whatever it is, Freaky Ranger types drink.
Sounds about right. That's berry ale.
Avocado, pumpkin spice, whatever.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Oh my god.
Earthy.
Kinzeros makes small talk for a few moments, and Connor, he definitely recognizes you. But he never asks at any point where the rest of your companions are. And he doesn't seem to draw much attention to the fact that you're here with this new scholar today. And that's it. He just makes small talk. He welcomes you to the place. He hopes you're enjoying your drink. And then he excuses himself and walks away. And that was the end of the encounter.
As he walks away, as soon as he's out of earshot, Connor says to Rallick, or whatever fake name he's given us.
He would have told you at this point that his name his name as far as professionally is Rallick. That's
Okay.
so yeah. He
Connor
would
says to Rallick, I think he's onto us.
Rallick will look at him and nod as you may be right.
He
Having
wanted
this
to meet with
conversation
us.
sitting right at the bar, yes?
I suppose so.
I mean, your options are you're speaking loud enough that you can be overheard, or you're like whispering to each other, which is extremely suspicious.
No. No, we would have walked. I mean, Rallick would have been if he had brought that up. Rallick would have tried to walk out of the building.
Okay.
He's not going to do that in public.
So you guys are outside walking the grounds when you're having this conversation, then?
Yeah.
Right. Making sure Rallick's making sure nobody's within earshot.
But yeah, I think he's onto us. He wanted to meet with us, made small talk, and then he left. That's very suspicious to me.
What do you think? What do you think he knows?
I think he knows that a lot of people want his book. And I suspect it is actually going to be very hard to get this book now.
He's like, so Rallick will say, well, that figures. And so I suppose this cover's blown now, but it was worth a shot.
Alex, Lucius, and Gus. Each of you
Yes.
give yourself one level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Not only are you put to work repairing and replacing and cleaning up the things you did, you're pretty sure you've been put to work cleaning and repairing things that have just been broken or dirty for years. I mean, Lucius, you find yourself at one point like scraping debris and grout out of the building gutters. Gus, you have like you've been given this bizarre artificer object and you're snaking down his indoor latrine. Alex, you're pretty sure you've done the same batch of dishes twice now. And by the end of the day, by the time the sun goes down, the three of you have just been worked to death. And Mad Metal is in no better spirits than he was. But he has not kicked you out of the building. Gus, what have you done with the fork since then?
I've kept it in. I've been carrying it, keeping it with an eye shot, but I haven't left it alone.
Okay.
But I have not, like, you haven't summoned it to my hand or anything.
You've been dragging it around the tower with you.
Yeah.
For the record, whatever weapon you had attached to your summon is no longer attached.
Right. It was just the, it was Alex's cutlass, that magical cutlass.
And then later that evening, when Rallick and Connor get back to the shop, while you guys were out working, really hard all day, they went and had a drink. And what's next?
I mean, I'm okay because Gustavus actually paid for his screw ups. So
Rallick will tell him. Rallick will explain how the encounter worked. That King Zeros insisted on meeting them, and then allow Connor to relay his suspicions.
So
he's burying it in his sub vault now, is what I'm hearing.
That's what we're afraid of. Yes.
all right. Then it means we need to go tonight, I think.
I need a rest. I don't know about anyone else.
I need a rest as well.
He's suspicious enough. I don't think one night will make enough of a difference. It's just I believe we'll have. I think what this tells us is that we're going to have one shot at this.
All right. Lucius, should
What?
we give the... What? Never mind, then.
I have just scrubbed
let
every inch of this place for hours.
Well,
Look at my hands. Look at my hands. Do these look like the hands that know manual labor?
I don't know.
Alex just
Concentrate.
laughs.
Lucius,
And laughs and laughs at that.
that's kind of up
That's
to
true.
you. Really.
That's so true.
It's
Concentrate on them and turn them into hands that know manual labor. Gus thinks real hard at his hands to turn them into like rough farmer's hands.
I need an opposed intelligence check between Gus and Lucius. Lucius,
Okay,
you make
Gustavus.
this add advantage. Let's see if Gus can steal the concentration away from Lucius.
That's a 22.
No, I 12.
12. So yeah, Lucius, you feel for a second that Gus like tries to grab the form of your hands away from you, but is not able to.
So what I was gonna say, Lucius, is we have the fork and we could maybe barter a fix for your hands as part of that, although I guess it's part of the payment for giving the fork over. But like we kind of got interrupted by Rallick in the conversation of like where we were going to give the fork. Are we going to give it to the bishop here in Blue Worm or the bishop back home?
If we think we can actually get Lucius's hands fixed, I would say do that here and now, personally.
Yeah.
Like, I had some other thoughts on it, but this is obviously an untenable situation.
Are you going to give him like mechanical hands?
I think he'd still have to concentrate on those.
Like turn his hands into bracers and then put like mechanical hands on top of the bracers? No, he still have to concentrate on
Here's how
Gustavus,
it works
this-
tonight.
this-
If you take a long rest tonight, one of you has to forego their long rest because you cannot concentrate through a long rest. So unless Lucius is not going to be able to take a long rest if his hands aren't together because he takes damage whenever they're not. So either he has to give up his long rest to concentrate, or one of you has to give up your long rest to concentrate on them.
And he has a level of exhaustion.
Anybody
Yeah.
who got worked by Mad Metal today has a level of exhaustion.
So, what time is it currently?
Evening. The sun's
Evening?
going down.
So so we need to make a decision, I guess, right now. Like, do we want to? Is getting some kind of clout back home worth potentially like our short-term troubles.
My vote is we do whatever's necessary to get this fixed now.
Well, you would say that.
I think.
No, I'm in agreement. I say we go like right now. Maybe the priest hasn't gone to bed yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll see us regardless.
If we want.
Yeah, if we show him the goddamn fork, you're right. He'll see us.
Yeah.
If
okay.
we want clout back home, there is another artifact in Lord Taker's dungeon we could always grab at a later point in time. Right now, I think we have more pressing issues, like Connor's gestured towards whatever hands Lucius has at the moment.
Uh-huh. No, I think we should do that. That's why I brought it up. I just wanted to
Okay.
get everybody else's opinion.
Is that happening
Rallick
tonight?
will say, no dog in the fight here, but having seen what happened to his hands, I'll point out, look, no dog in the fight here, but that seems like a major problem that you might, whatever that is that's going on, you might want to get that fixed.
Scrappy's actually
ahead
a
of
badger,
everything
not
else.
a dog.
Huh?
What was that, Brick?
Scrappy's actually a badger, not a dog.
Yes. He's a mechanical giant badger, not a giant mechanical badger.
How
Giant
did-
badgers are an actual thing.
How did Scrappy vote? Did he abstain?
Scrappy is a non-voting member of this team.
So who's going
He's
up to the
he's like the
cathedral?
Puerto Rican member of the Senate or of the House.
Who's actually going up to the cathedral with the fork?
Lucius is, and I guess Gus is, because he's the one who's
Oh, Gus, what
he's
you
the
can
one
do
who's
is
bound
just,
to it.
yeah, you could just leave the fork here and then go to the cathedral and then summon it to your hand.
So this is a very important distinction then, right? Did the fork just where did the creatures spawn? Did they spawn across the room?
You
where
have
the
no
fork
idea
was?
because you did whatever thing you do to summon a weapon to your hand, and the whole room filled with water and flushed all of you guys out into the hallway.
So there's absolutely so there's no way to know if it like originated from the other side of the room or like me as ground zero.
Make a religion check.
Holy crap. I might actually pass this. That is a 19.
19. What you're dealing with here is the force of one of the gods, which means one of two things. Either you are scared shitless of the ramifications of what you can and cannot do with this fork in reference to your own magic, or you really should be.
Yep. I really just kind of want to. I think I just really want to get rid of the fork.
Okay. Who's all going to the cathedral?
Well, it's going to depend if his party trusts Connor to come to the cathedral.
They
You didn't
trust
like
you.
Alex will
guy.
go.
Okay.
All right.
Alex doesn't care if Connor goes, so.
If about say like Rallick's not going to push anything, but he's intensely curious about about these hands and what's going on. So it's gonna he'll go if nobody objects to it.
Rallick's like, I'll take the chaos stuff hands. Get
His
All right,
curiosity's
Connor will go.
overwhelming. His curiosity's overwhelming. His greater sense of preservation.
Arriving
You
at the
do not
cathedral
want
grounds.
What I've got.
Arriving at the cathedral grounds, you are at first rebuffed because the sun has gone down. The daily mass. I mean, the high priest doesn't usually conduct a daily mass anyway. That's kind of beneath his station. But when you point out that you're carrying this fork and that you've been sent on this holy quest to retrieve it by the high priest, you're assured that he will be roused and will tend to you directly. And you're taking it up into one of the priest's solars in one of the upper floors of the cathedral, where they're like the various cells for their acolytes, some of their small offices and sitting rooms, and some of the private prayer rooms as well. You're taken into one of these, and the high priest comes down to meet you. Difficult to tell that this is a man that was recently asleep, but he did keep you waiting for a few moments. And seems genuinely surprised to be seeing any of you again, considering what he asked of you last time you were here.
If you care to hear the story, we can. You can see why I would be surprised we're standing here talking to you as well.
what he wants to do, well, he's the high priest. What he commands you to do is he will send, within the week, one of his scribes, one of his acolytes, to record the accurate story of how you retrieved this fork from whatever thief had taken it from the halls of Osprey. This is a story that's going to be transcribed into the mythos of the goddess and told for all time.
Gus, your date's going to be immortalized.
Gus 1312, and thus he bought the rum for 20 platinum or 9 platinum or however much it was.
Gus, do you hand over the fork?
Not without some negotiations.
Why don't you hand it over to him when he asks? Well, I'm sorry, when he commands.
When he commands, we never discussed payment. We were hired to do a job, right?
He gave you the gate key, the portal keys in return. You wanted to get the sigil. He knew a way for you to get the sigil. This was your payment. You agreed to go on this quest in order to get those portal keys.
Huh.
So he considers his end of the bargain fulfilled. And you can already tell you're trying his patience by looking to ask or demand more, however you want to look at it.
Well, in the process of getting this, one of my companions was maimed, and we just need you to use some of your clerical magic to fix him.
What is the nature of the injury? Because, he's sitting here and he sees some of you have injuries from the fight with the elemental earlier today, but he's not seeing any of you who are maimed or crippled.
Lucius holds his hand up and willingly drops his concentration on his hands for a moment.
Lucius, take 2 points of force damage.
And then reestablishes concentration.
When that happens, the priest jumps to his feet. It's the first time you've seen him act in a way that is genuinely human. Like when he sees...
You asked us to travel out onto the plains, onto the madness that exists beyond this world. You didn't. You scarcely expected us to come back, much less with some kind of malady.
By Zerbo's beard. He nods. He says the procedure is going to be fairly detailed, and that he will need to keep Lucius here for the better part of a day. In seclusion.
Very well.
I'm gonna look at everybody else and just kind of is that enough? Do we hand him the fork now? What?
Yes.
Connor nods.
Okay.
One thing actually. We are unfortunately, and I understand, there are a lot of secular and religious authorities that might butt heads about this. But we have to leave town tonight or tomorrow as soon as Lucius is better, so we're not going to be able to have a scribe. What you could do is check in with the Temple of Osprey in our home of what's the city called?
And he holds up his hand and shakes his head. He says, I wouldn't trust the acolytes in Dunfoss to such a miraculous task. To which I will allow an insight check.
Yep. It's a 6.
A 6. No, he tells you that he understands that you all operate out of Dunfoss and that he can send an acolyte of his own in due time.
Oh, that's fine. That's exactly what I was going to ask, actually.
Do the rest of you leave Lucius here?
Before Gus does anything, he's gonna look at the fork.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, well, which church would you rather go to, Mr. Fork?
You're talking to the fork?
Right.
The priest starts to lose his patience a little bit, and he turns to Lucius and says, are you sure you're the only one who has suffered a malady?
Possibly.
No, he's like that all the time.
He offers his condolences.
That's rude.
It's the high priest. He's allowed to be rude. He's God's voice on earth.
Oh, that's Connor talking out loud.
Oh, fair enough.
Trying to make the situation
Gus.
worse.
Yep.
This is your final chance before the situation gets worse. Are you handing the fork to the high priest?
Yes. Be
Okay.
careful. Don't
Don't feed it after midnight.
don't feed it after midnight, or it'll spawn water elementals that really, really get angry.
The high priest graciously accepts the fork on behalf of Osprey, and knows that none of you are devout followers, but insists that nonetheless you have done the goddess of waters a tremendous deed that will not be forgotten by this temple or anyone who worships here. At this point, the rest of you, an acolyte comes back into the room to politely escort you guys back off the grounds. Lucius, you are instructed to hand over your equipment to your party as they're leaving. They're going to put you in a plain robe to convalesce in.
Mm-hmm.
Before they do that, they ask if anything you're carrying is known to you as a potential source of your malady. In other words, are you wearing or equipped with anything that is causing this to happen to your hands?
No, not as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Then yeah, they want you to hand your weapons and your spell focus and your armor and your clothes and your fancy boots. And
Lucius, did you ever replace your armor after the last time it got destroyed?
No.
All right.
Actually, no, I
Put
think
your
I
stuff
did.
in the bag of holding. There'll be a set of armor in there for when you get back. When you get back too.
Okay.
Oh, studded leather. Yeah.
Lucius,
Yep.
they do. They take you downstairs into a basement area, which seems to be artificially kept damp and cold at all times. The room they have you in seems less.
Echo.
It seems less of a room and more of a cell. It's a small stone room, larger than the room you had at Mad Metals, but you got a straw mat in one corner that, like I said, is partially damp. They bring you a meal, which consists of little more than fresh bread and a scrap of some kind of dried vegetable, and a tankard of salt water.
Okay.
You're instructed to take this meal. You're instructed to pray to Osprey for the restoration of your hands. And then after that, well, I'll put it this way. How much do you describe to the priests that are tending to you? Like, how much of your malady do you describe to them? Do you make known to them that you have to focus on keeping your hands as hands?
Yes.
Okay. Then you're instructed to take the meal and to pray to Osprey. They don't care at all that you're not a follower. But then after that, they're going to leave you there alone, closed up in this cell. And you're instructed to drop the concentration and let nature take its course.
Okay.
So what do you do? The rest of you can take a long rest.
Do I need to roll a d20?
You sure do, buddy.
It's an 18.
Okay. So the first thing I want to know is, Lucius, what is the nature of your prayer to Osprey? Or do you do it at all?
Lucius does, in as so much as just kind of thinks the words as best he can.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't, like, actually, like, you know, he doesn't know how, like, what genuflecting or anything like that. He doesn't know all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Like, you know, he's saying our fathers or whatever. But he's just kind of thinking the words as he goes through this, and yes, he will follow their instructions.
So you're thinking this prayer, not speaking it out loud. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. the cell that you're in has a sliver of moonlight streaming in, where they have, I don't remember the actual name of it, but a shaft of stone that reaches up through the layers of floor and opens up out into probably the courtyard somewhere along the bottom of the outside wall of the cathedral, just big enough for sunlight or moonlight to stream in. And it's a clear night. And as you're sitting there thinking this prayer, you start hearing the words. The voice you're hearing them in is not your own. And it sounds sarcastic, like really mean-spirited, mocking voice. And you realize that you're no longer aware of the moonlight streaming into the room. Some kind of magical darkness has taken hold in here.
Beats my super special darkness.
No.
Darkness sight.
No, you still have your magic warlock vision. What do you do?
Try to find the source of that mocking voice.
There is disagreement on what Osprum's form actually looks like. It's not known when the last time this particular god has taken an avatar and walked the world. Not since mythological times, surely. But I want you to imagine like a small gremlin-esque creature that's doing like a fake like dress up of like the sexy nurse outfit of Osprey. This is what this small, just black scaled creature with blue lipstick on is wearing, like the flowing robes and big fake bosoms, and it's holding a dinner fork in each hand and kind of clashing together, saying the words of your prayer out of your own head to you.
I'll stop and say, emissary of the Lord of the Eighth, I take it.
He says, "Oh yeah, the boss sent me."
Of course he did.
And he waddles up to you, and you can see he's having difficulty moving in this flowing robe and these sandals misshapen on his feet. And he steps forward, and he tells you, "Yeah, the boss wants to know why you're asking this sea goddess bitch for help."
You know, hadn't quite occurred to me yet, but yeah, it is pretty unusual.
And he starts flapping his little pathetic wings together, and as he does, he moves about a foot or so off the floor, revealing that underneath the flowing robe that he was wearing is this small wooden chopping block covered in blood, and in the middle of it is this slash through the wood where heavy blades have hit it over the years.
Mm.
And he reaches behind him, and to accompany the dinner fork that he's holding, he pulls out what looks just to be like a fairly unclean dinner knife. And he starts scraping the fork and knife together. Says, "Well, the boss doesn't want you getting in bed with this sea bitch. He wants to help you out. That's what I'm doing here." And he motions for you to place your hand down on this chopping block.
Just one or both?
Well, both. Well, he says it's up to you. If you want to keep one of those hands, that's your call.
Burkard, you are sounding very echoey, and it's kind of distracting.
I had to mute him in tabletop. He's broadcasting through it for some reason.
Oh,
yeah,
I know why
that's
that's
weird.
happening.
Yeah,
Why did that
I can fix
happen?
that.
I don't.
I must have accidentally pushed the button that makes that happen.
I think it's C or V that turns off the voice chat in
Right.
tabletop.
My mistake. I must have accidentally
Weird.
hit
I
V.
haven't-
It happens.
Oh, that's going to appear on the video too, Treble. Good luck.
It actually sounded really cool because it was at the time where you started talking about like Osprey in the room and everything.
Yeah,
Almost seemed intentional.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a
about that.
nice effect. Yeah.
No, I went to do something with the table. I must have accidentally hit V. Anyway.
Mm.
Yeah,
In any
Lucius, he
case.
tells you that, the boss is happy to let you keep the problem if you want it, but I mean, he's offering to solve it for you. And between you and me, he's going to be real upset if you get in league with this sea bitch.
I'm sure he will.
Fun fact, first time I played Suikoden 4, that's what I named my boat.
The sea
See,
bitch.
Excellent. Wow, you edgy 20-something, huh,
I
Burger?
could say something really awful right now, and I won't.
I'm sorry, I didn't come up. That's the name of Theon Greyjoy's boat in Game of Thrones.
Right.
So it's up. You can either follow the priest's guidance and do what they asked, or you can take this gremlin up on its opportunity and he can saw your hands off.
No, I took one deal, enough from your boss,
From my
With,
boss? You mean our boss? Surely.
from your boss.
From my boss?
I took one deal from your boss for my life, and that's enough for me for now. Thanks.
And the little gremlin almost looks surprised. Are you sure about this?
Pretty damn sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but the boss ain't gonna like this.
I'm sure he won't.
And at this, comes back down to the ground and the robes cover up the little chopping block and the scraping sounds of his fork and knife that he's scraping together. He says, all right, your funeral. And the creature and his cutlery and the chopping block all fade from view.
Lucius mutters Pike off and continues to focus on the words again.
So you speak the prayer, and then you were instructed to let go of your hands.
Yep.
And it's only a couple of moments before the pain completely knocks you unconscious.
Mm.
Figure 2d6 damage per round until all your hit points are
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Well, Lucius is not going to take that long.
You wake up in a different room in the cathedral. This is actually like a room you would expect to wake up convalescing in. You're not the only patient in here. There are other people in other beds in the room, probably about a dozen beds, half of which are filled. Covered in clean linens. Your hands feel like they're submerged in extremely hot water. And any motion you send to your hand sends pins and needles all through your muscles, all the way up your arms. And looking down at your body, I mean, when you pull your arms under these covers, you see that your hands are bound up in bandages all the way up past your wrists, partway up your forearm. Shortly after that, one of the acolytes comes over and assures you that everything went well, but that the skin of your new hands is going to be extremely tender, and you'll have to give time to build up calluses in the places. Like, even just holding objects is going to feel very painful for a while.
Okay.
But other than that, he expects you to make a full recovery.
All right.
So go ahead and take the benefits of a long rest, keeping in mind that you're starting the long rest at 0 hit points.
Okay.
Is there any reason I can't just buy a suit of leather armor at the book cost?
No, not at all.
Great. You always says studded leather perfectly fitted to you in the bag of holding when you get your stuff back.
And yeah, Lucius, be glad you're not a warlock. Or be glad you are a warlock, because if you had told off your god like that, you'd have lost your spells. If you were a cleric or something.
I know. Yeah, no.
That's the benefit of being a warlock, I guess.
Hey, Connor. When you wake up, your bow is missing.
Where are we sleeping?
Mad Metal gave you his place for one more night. He didn't kick you out just yet.
And
He
what's Connor's? Okay.
He's going to formulate a chore list for you guys for tomorrow.
Connor runs out the door, half dressed, looking around, quasi panicking.
Alex is also not in the room anymore.
Oh, those fake fuckers finally found me.
Oh, did you wake up with your equipment stolen? Check with Alex.
Yeah.
He does that every once in a while. It's very annoying when he takes my pants.
Are you sure? Because it could be the Fae. I'm pretty sure they might have finally found me.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Alex. He's got a track record of doing this.
Okay.
Don't worry, it means he likes you.
Oh.
And when you go down into Mad Metal's lab, Alex has your bow splayed out on a table. You know how like a modern bow has little pulleys and like all the tension things? Alex has added all of that sort of things to it along with a sight. It is now a +2 bow.
I love YouTube, like archery YouTube channels, like because I always watch them and I'm fascinated by the technology. I love seeing like recursive bows and how they add like little laser sights and stuff. And I'm like, at some point though, you just graduate to a rifle, right?
Rifle can't be as quiet.
That's true.
No, range is never as good either. But
yeah, and Alex will show you how to string it and unstring it and how to line it up with the sight. And yeah, that's now a +2 bow until we need that slot for something else.
Lucius, you're able to spend the day here. I mean, I'm assuming you're spending hit dice on your long rest, so you're not at 0 hit points the next day. Okay. They're not kicking you out of the place. You're allowed to stay here as long as you want to recover. So I guess the question is, are you waiting for your companions to come and retrieve you, or are you going to have one of the acolytes bring you back to them, knowing that you have a job and you've got to get out of town pretty quick?
Yeah, no, once I feel good enough to get up and about, Lucius is gonna go seek out his companions.
Okay. Do you keep the bandages on your hands?
Once let's save the reveal for when everybody is here.
Okay. When is the next time you guys are all together after you've done all your chores and everybody gets back together? Is that happening at Mad Metal Shop or somewhere else?
Mad Metal Shop is as good a place as any.
And Alex is like, if you unhinge this part of the bow and turn it this way, it turns into a fishing rod. So Lucius arrives back at the shop. The Acolyte of Ostrom wishes you all well. And he steps in. He's still wearing, this is the plain robes that he was given. Plain robes and slippers. His hands are bound up in bandages.
Gus immediately looks at his hands and thinks real hard about crab claws.
Are you trained in medicine?
Yes, I am.
Make a medicine check. Intelligence medicine.
7. No, actually, it's more than 17. I think I accidentally closed my character sheet. Oh no. I do this every time. Medicine is, so that's a 19.
19. Even before unwrapping the bandages, looking at the place where he's bandaged to, you can see scarring around his, up above his wrist. And you can tell that whatever's under there are not Lucius's natural hands. Your guess is that his hands have been severed just above the wrist by surgeons in the temple. And then magically regenerated using whatever restoration magic they had access to. So Lucius's original hands are still in the temple somewhere.
I'm going to say that. I'm like, huh. It looks like they cut your hands off and then regenerated them, which is a little worrying, which means there's chaos material floating around the Temple of Ostrom.
Gus, check out my bow. Look at this.
It's so cool.
I told you it means he likes you.
Yeah.
6 of one, 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
I suppose it's not our hands, not our problems at this point, right?
Does Lucius feel the same way?
There's a lot to adjust to right now.
Sure.
Brick Road. I'm gonna need some time to think about that.
Sure.
But it looks like they cut your hands off, dude.
So
I mean, like I said, 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
So, point of order. Not our hands, not our problem. but we still have, we think, a vampire hand that we're carrying around. Do I have that right?
We don't talk about the don't talk
I do,
about the
don't I?
vampire hand in front of the new guy. New guy.
He's just gonna look at you somewhat
Oh.
like you're crazy when he says that.
Oh, you had it's tip of the iceberg, buddy. Tip of the iceberg. Just you wait.
He's just shake his head at that.
So what's next?
So do you need some gloves or something, Lucius? Something we can do to make your hands more comfortable?
Potentially. Lucius is going to pull the bandages off and get an actual look at it.
And you wouldn't. Are you training medicine?
No.
Then you wouldn't have noticed it without Gus pointing it out. But you can see where the incision must have been made around your wrist. Other than that, your hands look normal. It's a little strange because they're like baby pink. They haven't. There's no calluses. There's no hardness to them. These are hands that have never touched a single thing in their entire lives. And it's pins and needles, so it's uncomfortable, but it's not causing you any damage. And otherwise, they function like hands.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alexander's got some gloves I can throw on for the time being.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And if you unhinge the gloves in just this way, it turns into a fishing pole. What's next?
Crimes?
Do you mind if I grab some other stuff from just at shop prices and just book stuff?
I'm going to assume you could have done that yesterday while
Yeah.
Lucius was
Yeah,
getting his...
I just putting stuff back in the bag of holding that we used in the dungeon and whatnot.
Yeah,
no problem.
With arrows.
Yeah.
Gus, remember you also lost all of your equipment.
Right, I did. Okay, so I'm gonna have to.
Yep.
I'll tally that up and put it what I'm gonna get.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you guys take care of that while we take a quick break?
In fact, Connor's gonna buy extra arrows to play with his fun new +2 bow.
We'll come back in about 15 minutes. Give everybody time to get your coffee, get your bagel, figure out what you want to buy from the PHB.
Word.
And I'll see everybody at about 5 o'clock.